So I've been running a profitable online yoga business for the last 8 years or so. I've been doing this while raising my own young family, and I only ever work on my business about 10 hours a week. If you want to see the type of yoga business that I run, you can check out the other videos here on my channel. So it's mostly around yoga for fertility, pregnancy, and postpartum. I don't make the majority of my money teaching other yoga teachers how to make money on the internet, which often happens when people are running online businesses. But I do share this type of content because I work with mothers and I want other mums, and specifically other yoga teachers who are trying to create passive online businesses, to know that it is possible. And I'm grateful to say that most of my income comes from my memberships and my online yoga circle, which is around women in that perinatal and postnatal space, as well as one-to-one work with women who are in this space at the moment. I do all of this from the comfort of my home, and most of my work is virtual. So I get to choose when I do it. I set my own schedule, and that works for me around family life. So you don't have to be a yoga teacher. Many of these tips would also work if you're also in other helping professions. All right, so the first mistake that I see many women making is that they're creating content for socials rather than search. I get it. Making social media content is fun. Making reels feels quick and easy and attainable, especially when you're a busy mum who doesn't have much time to dedicate to filming or to writing long-form content. But if you are only making content for search, what happens is you're putting all this energy and effort into getting that attention, and it might get good attention for a short amount of time, but unless you're someone who consistently goes viral, which, let's be honest, that happens to a very small minority of people, the eyeballs on that content only last about 24 hours. It's rare for us to see social media posts days or weeks or months or even years after. Once it's posted, it has about a 24-hour lifespan, sometimes even less depending on the platform, and then nobody sees that content ever again. Nobody goes to Instagram and searches for yoga for fertility or yoga for pregnancy, which are my areas of specialty. However, if you put your time and energy into making content for search, people do go to YouTube and search for those topics. So the things that I make and put on YouTube, my yoga classes, my instructional videos, my face-to-face videos like this, they get found weeks after I publish them, months after I publish them, even years after I publish them. Typically, when I first post a YouTube video, it doesn't get that many views. But over many months and over many years, some of my videos have hundreds of thousands of views. And that continues to drive my business because people find me through search, not through me having to always keep up with social media content. They find me through that stuff that I've already made. So things I made 5 years ago are still being found consistently in search today, when I'm sleeping, when I'm driving my kids to school, when I'm doing other things with my family. People are finding that content, and then once they've practiced with me a few times in that free content, often then they're ready to move into some of the paid content. They might join a course, they might sign up for my membership. So you're doing yourself a disservice if you're only making social media content, because you can never get off that hamster wheel. You have to constantly be making that content to keep people looking at your brand, looking at your business, what you're doing, and keep promoting those things that you are trying to sell. Whereas in search, the content can do that for you. So searchable content could be podcasts, it could be YouTube videos, it could be blog articles. All of these things can be optimized for search. If you'd like to learn more about how to optimize these things for search, you can type in search engine optimization into Google or into YouTube, and you will find thousands of pieces of free content that you can start with. Or if you'd like to be guided through by me, I do have a course, Presence, where I step you through this part of the process, how to pick which type of searchable content is going to be right for you based on your skills. And then we can work out how to optimize that piece of content for search. So eventually, as you start building a library of content, it will do the work for you rather than you have to constantly being in your business and working to make that content. Don't mind me, I'm just trying to get my hair to sit perfectly. The second mistake that I see people making is trying to get their content to look perfect from the moment they start. And yes, I get that there is a lot of information out there about how to make your content look good, what kind of gear you need, all of those things. But if you're just getting started, the number one thing I think you need to practice is your presence on camera, your ability to talk to a camera when no one else is in the room and still be able to present reasonably naturally and comfortably and like you're just having a conversation with another person. Too many people get on camera and freeze, myself included. If you go right back to the beginning of my channel and have a look at my first videos, they are literally terrible. I've left them there as evidence of how far I've come, and I leave them there for you so that hopefully you can get started. Do the best that you can, but stop looking for perfection. It's not going to be perfect the first time that you create a yoga class for YouTube or the first time that you record a meditation. Do the best that you can and share it with your audience. Get some feedback and slowly, little by little, try and make each piece of content just 1% better. 1% is not overwhelming. 1% will keep you moving forward. And honestly, that is the best way to grow. If I had have waited until my content was perfect, or my film setup was perfect, or my recording stuff was perfect before I got started, I literally would have no yoga videos on my YouTube channel at this point in time. It was only through constant practice and upgrading and editing and learning, like, oh, that kind of looks a bit rubbish. I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't use this camera, or that microphone's not great. Knowing through doing is how you get to something that looks really great. And I also want to mention that this applies to your physical appearance as well. Too often we think, I'll wait until I get my hair done, or I'll wait until my skin clears up, or I'll wait until I lose some weight. I have no idea what the size of your body has to do with how good of a yoga teacher you are, but for some reason, we have these kind of weird beliefs in our head that stop us from getting started. For instance, can you see my arm at the moment? I have this really fun unknown rash. Yes, I'm going to the doctor later today. It might be a heat rash. It is extremely hot here in Queensland at the moment. It might be some sort of allergic reaction. I've been working in my garden a lot lately. I'm not really sure. And when I woke up this morning, I have to admit, I did think, oh, maybe I'll just wait until tomorrow, until the rash goes away, or next week. I'll put it off because I don't feel 100% comfortable in my body and it's not going to look very good on camera. But then I told myself to get over it. You guys won't care if I have a few spots on my arm. This is just what real life looks like. And I think your students will appreciate that. I know when I'm doing an online yoga class, I love when the teacher makes mistakes. I love when they show honest pieces of their own life and they don't try and show up perfectly and they aren't perfect in their appearance. I have filmed throughout pregnancies, throughout losses. I've been heartbroken. My hair has looked terrible. I've put on weight. I've lost weight. My skin has looked good. My skin has looked terrible. I've been sweaty and a mess. And I think all of that just adds to the human element of I'm trying to be a teacher in real life and work through a screen, but still convey those human elements of what I'm doing. So please stop trying to beat yourself up about being perfect and just get started. So you're just getting your yoga business off the ground and you think that you need to start a blog, you need to start a YouTube channel, a podcast, you need to get professional photos done, you need to get your Instagram pumping, you need to be making reels, you need to be on TikTok, you need to be doing all the things. And the experts will tell you that you need to repurpose all of your content onto all of these different platforms so that you can maximize your time and get the most out of it. I want to tell you to take a deep breath. And as we know, as yoga teachers, you're not going to get any of this done if you are feeling overwhelmed. I want you to pick one platform to focus on. And the reason I want you to pick one and one only is because when you put all of your energy into 100 different directions and you work really hard in all of those different directions, your progress is going to feel like this because you're going to inch just a tiny bit forward in each of those areas. Instead of putting all your energy into one thing and actually being able to see the progress because you're only focused on one thing and your energy is going in one direction. And you would know this from other areas of your life. Like if you try and do all the things in your home, typically everything will get done to a mediocre standard. But if you focus on just one thing in your home, you typically will make good progress in that area. So I want you to do the same thing for your business. Pick one platform. As we've already discussed, ideally it would be a search platform so that you're going to start getting bang for your buck and hopefully your business will start working for you. If you're starting a yoga business, I personally would start on YouTube. I think it lends itself really well to your students then being able to either join a membership or join a video course because they're already engaging with you in a video format. So if that's where you're headed with whatever paid offering that you're hoping to create, then I think a video platform and YouTube in particular because of its search function is the one that you should be focusing all your time on. And because you'll only be focusing on one platform, that's going to give you the opportunity to devote time to learning about that platform. Watch the platform, learn how it works, learn what you like to watch, practice other yoga classes on the platform so you can see what's working, what you really enjoy as an audience, so that then you can create things that you think your audience is going to enjoy. You can learn the best tips and tricks for YouTube, how to maximize things like keywords and things like that for search. So narrowing in and focusing on one area is going to help you so much more, because different platforms really do work in different ways. I can put a video on my YouTube channel which will go crazy, and then I can put exactly the same video on Instagram, use exactly the same words, talk about it in exactly the same way, and 5 people out of my 5,000 followers will see it. Different platforms will literally push different types of content. So focusing on the one platform is going to help you to learn how to work best in that space. And then yes, once you've mastered that one, or once you feel like you've got good traction there, you can definitely open it up and start adding another platform. So maybe you start with YouTube and then you add Instagram as a social platform and you share things across and you start to learn a little bit more about making reels and what works on Instagram. But don't try and do all the things all at once, or you really will find like you're not getting anywhere fast, or you'll just be in overwhelm and won't even be able to get started. Another mistake that I see many of the yoga teachers that I work with in mentoring make is really overthinking your paid offering. And now, yes, to be an online yoga business, you do need to have something that your students can buy, some way for them to pay you, so that it can actually be a business and not a hobby. But I think you need to stop overthinking what that paid offering is going to be. You can start by simply making a workshop. It could be a 2-hour workshop on something that you specialize in. And I think keeping it really simple at the start is the best way to go. You could create that 2-hour workshop in a weekend. You could film it on one day, edit it on another, work out how to put it up online and how to take payment for it, and start promoting that in a single weekend. That's you creating your business in a single weekend. Keep it simple to start. Just deliver it by email if you need. Just send your students who are interested in it a PayPal link or a PayPal invoice to start. It doesn't need to be complicated to start trying out what works. And then once you start getting some sales and once you start seeing, oh yeah, people are really interested in this topic, then you can build it out from the questions that they ask. Maybe you commonly find that after your students take that 2-hour workshop, they have these common questions that keep coming up. Then you can build out that 2-hour workshop with some extras. Maybe you add on a pre-filmed Q&A that answers those questions. Maybe there's a workbook that goes along with it. Maybe you add meditations and it becomes a full course. But keep it really simple to start so you don't get stuck in that place of mapping out all the things you need to create, feeling like you need to spend 6 months creating this course. Literally create something in a weekend that you can put up there and start getting feedback on is going to be better for you developing as a business owner, developing as a yoga teacher, than spending all this time thinking you need to give them all this content. And also, I want you to think about it from an audience perspective or from a student perspective, that, okay, I have this problem that I'm struggling with and I found this yoga teacher who says they can help me with it. Do I want 10 hours of video content that I have to work through and try and fit into my week or my month? Or do I want a 10-minute practice that is going to help me daily? Think of it from the perspective of your student having to use all of this content. I definitely got stuck in this trap when I first started, thinking I needed to put everything into it so that my audience would feel like it was valuable enough to buy. But really what they're looking for is the transformation. They're in this place, maybe they're stressed and overwhelmed, and they want to feel good in their body. They want to reduce stress. What you give them matters less than being able to help make that change. So focus on the change that you're helping to make in your product, which in a 2-hour workshop, if we're wanting to learn about something or we want to reduce stress, a 2-hour workshop is definitely long enough to do that. And so from that place of having made that product, you're going to get to practice how to talk about it, how to sell that product. And then as you talk about it and sell it, you'll probably also realize things that maybe you need to add to the product. And that's where your paid offering is going to grow and develop, through feedback from your audience, through learning how to sell it. And that is honestly the key to online business. learning how to sell the offering, not necessarily making the best offering. I have seen so many amazing courses and things that people have put together, but they keep just going on to make more paid offerings instead of doing the work to learn how to sell them and talk about them to their audience through free content and through free searchable content. That's honestly where the real work is in an online business. So do your best to make a paid offering, but don't overcomplicate it. And then the final mistake that I see many yoga teachers making is giving up too quickly. They might try a little bit of Instagram marketing, they might move on to a podcast, they might publish a few yoga videos to YouTube, and then they think it's not working, my audience isn't interested, I've only got 3 views on this video and most of them were my mom. It's not going to happen overnight. I have never gone viral. I have never had anything skyrocket my growth like crazy. My business has been built entirely off slow, consistent growth. And at the start, consistent growth that didn't really seem all that impressive. And the only reason that I can tell you for why I kept going is because the work was meaningful to me. And I knew this was the space that I wanted to work in, and I knew this was content I wanted to create. I remember so often making YouTube videos in those first few years, editing them, putting them up, and feeling like, oh, it's just not exactly what I wanted to create. And instead of letting that frustrate me or make me give up, I tried to channel that into, okay, I need to learn how to do this better. And I would look into audio and how to make my audio better. Or I would look into different filming techniques and how to film better. Or I'd look into keywords and how to word my titles and my description better so people could actually find my videos. You need to perfect your craft, and it needs to be your craft. And this is why I think you have to pick the right type of content for you, not just what everyone is saying you need to be doing. If video is not right for you, then don't do video. You could have a yoga business built entirely around audio content, meditations, mindfulness practices, things like that, and not do any video at all. If that is what you really enjoy making and you really enjoy engaging with as an audience, then make that sort of content, because you're going to be more likely to stick to it if you actually enjoy the process of creating and learning and getting better. I am constantly trying to make my videos better because I genuinely enjoy that feeling of editing them and putting them together and putting them up and getting a response from my audience. It's not always positive. I think you do have to really detach your own ego from what you're creating. It is my craft and my practice and my work and my creative outlet. And I take a lot of pride in the effort that I put into my work, but I also don't take it personally if someone doesn't like what I create. I try to keep that little bit of separation that, you know what, I'm not for everyone, and not everyone is going to like what I put out there or like what I say. And that's completely okay. So I think one of the biggest challenges that you face if you're starting to create your online yoga business right now is not giving up too soon in any one area. In fact, I think you should really try to do something for a good 6 months to see if you're getting any sort of traction. After 6 months, if you've consistently tried to get better each time you've done it, consistently put out YouTube videos every week, or written a blog article, or shared on Instagram, or whatever it is that you've decided to do, if you're not getting anywhere in 6 months, then it's time to reevaluate. Maybe you want to work with a mentor, maybe you want to get some more education around whichever platform you've chosen. Reevaluate then, but don't do something for just 2 weeks and then give up because it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked because you haven't given it the time, both for that mythical algorithm to pick you up and to show you to the right type of audience, but also for you to develop in that space, to get confident, to know how to create content that your audience is looking for. So if you'd like help in any of these areas that we've spoken about today, I'd like to invite you to join my course Presence. This is a 6-week program that's going to help guide you through from ideation all the way to creating your paid product, how to market it, and how to get some momentum and build a business that is going to work for you. If you have specific questions about any part of this process, feel free to put them in the comments and I'll either answer them there or create a video for you. I can't wait to see what you create in your business.